transmission is leaking though. So I'm gonna change those. How's our fittings doing? Since we've been running, the fittings look good. No leaks on the fittings. So here I had already removed the pan from the white and blue Mustang and scraped the old gasket off and cleaned it up a little bit. Right now I'm prepping the surface with a coarse surface conditioning disc. I got a bunch of them around. I'll flash a picture of how they are and an image of them if you want to purchase them. And I cleaned this pan up a little bit. And what's great about those discs, they don't remove material. They don't remove none of the metal. So the pan is prepped well when you're done using it. And I'll use a little air to blow it off and some breaking parts cleaning to make sure the surface is very clean before we install the new gasket. As far as the black Mustang, I'll go a little bit into detail with cleaning that pan. I'll show a little bit more detail with that and how we're going to install that one as well. So after I get done cleaning this, I will be back and show you guys how I install the gasket, and we'll install it on the white and blue Mustang, and then we'll jump to the black one. Got two gaskets. This is for the black car. I'm going to replace that rubber gasket on here, and this one's for this. In place. I paused it here because I want to know if you work on vehicles part-time or your own vehicles, this stuff is great to have laying around. I think it's about 12 bucks or less, maybe less than 10 bucks, around 10 bucks, 10 to 12 bucks, and it's an amazing product, and we're going to use it on both of these pans and watch how well it works. So grab some of this and just have it laying around in the shop or at your garage, because this stuff is great on gaskets, especially holding them in place. Alright, let's go get the transmission perked up. This is ready to go. Here's some general information about this transmission, and I inserted this information because out of the many books that I have that cover all the four transmissions, none of them specify the tightness sequence for the C3, C4, and C6 transmissions. None of them. And they all pretty much have the same general information, and the most you'll get out of them is the torque specs, which is the crucial part to me. So I kind of figured out a way that I tighten them or go about tightening them from the ones that I've worked on, and I'll let this play out. This is just some general information I'm showing you guys with this. Alright, gotta clean the surface on this thing. Good. Let it drain out overnight. Let me get the wire wheel and clean this up real good. And a wire brush. And we're gonna wipe that off with the rag first, and we're gonna clean this up really good. It's not a bad day today out here, I'll tell you that much. Much nicer than yesterday. All right, let me get the rag and clean this up. We're gonna get the wire brush and clean this surface really good. I'll put the wire brush on the drill. We'll do it like that. All right, I'll use this finer wheel brush opposed to that one. I'll use it in the drill. So we'll use this one. It's more finer. And the gasket I'm using here is a vintage gasket that I got lucky to find. This one, as you can see how it's made, we used on the newer style pan for this because I use a rubber gasket under here and it's leaking without the car even being driven. So I've already drained the fluid out. And we'll be doing that one next to secure that one with no more leaks with this gasket. This is also a thicker gasket. This is a thicker gasket than this one. So let's go clean the surface of the transmission, and then we're gonna make this thing. Should be all good. You guys a better look at the leak. And this thing has just been sitting up here, not driven whatsoever, just a leak along the seam. We got a cheap rubber gasket on here. I'm gonna fix that. All right, I went 10 first. I torqued it all the way around 10 first, made multiple passes to make sure I was at 10. And on the second pass, I did 14. All right, we're gonna put some transmission fluid in a second, and we're gonna see what we looking like. All right, so I put some transmission fluid in here, and we should be leak free. Okay, only put about 2.5, almost 3/4. That's all I have right now, and should be well over enough to let us know if we got something. I'll pour some more in there, but I was more concerned about the leak from the rubber grommet for the dipstick, but that's fine. I think we're all good though. Got a nice tight seal along that rim. That's when it seems to tend to leak it, on the rim and on the sides and the bolts. All right, but be back with in a couple days for the update to show you guys how we looking under here. All right, got some more transmission fluid. Let's see how much in here. Let's say a quart in here. So we got about a little bit under 5 quarts in here right now. There's about 4.5 quarts in here. It's enough. Let's go under here. It don't take long for this stuff to leak, I'll tell you that much. But that seal looks beautiful. It does. It really does. Okay, let's change this one out. Some bonus footage. I wasn't gonna do this one on cam. Let's get on here and move the pan and get it cleaned up and put the new gasket on. Look at the pan, guys. Y'all see how that gasket dissolved under there? This gasket is supposed to have been a good gasket. After I replaced the filter, I added a new pan, and look at this gasket. I haven't driven this car yet. I haven't driven the car, guys. I just put a brand new gasket on it and a brand new pan. But look at this. Look how it's all, it's like a foam material than rubber. Look how the transmission fluid dissolved it. So we're gonna scrape that clean. There's a filter replacement video on my channel for this. Shows you how to do all that. And another video for removing the valve body and replacing the shift linkage to add a neutral safety switch. So check out those couple videos if you're interested. But yeah, this is not gonna work. Look how that is. And we're leaking like crazy. We're about to stop that today. I wasn't gonna film this part, but I wanted to show you guys this. Look at this gasket, how it's broken down. You can actually see the fibers in it. I don't know what material this is, but it's been a decent gasket. Okay, although this is a new pan, you guys can see I got a hot spot here. You can see it here. Chop that down. Got another one here too. So we'll tap those back flat, otherwise we're gonna have another leak still. So it's here. Here. When doing this, guys, it's best to use a ball peen hammer. It works great when tapping those holes flat, back even with the surface, opposed to using a flat hammer. Just use a ball peen hammer. You'll get it back flush or flat, so it can mate perfect with the transmission. Pretty much it. Pretty much it. You can live with this. Look at that straight edge. You don't have to be perfect to live with that. Let me do it this time. All right. We're all good. So before we get in and clean up, let's set the gasket in place, and we can get on there and clean up. This is ready though. We all good. I'm gonna let this, even though it's set up pretty quick, this stuff dries fast. I'll set it in front of my little heater, and while I'm under that cleaning up, and we should be all good. Okay, we're pretty clean. All right, let's go out and get the pan started. Okay, so these are the bolts for this one. These Allen bolts or hex bolts. So they came with lock washers. So I'm adding washers on each and every one of them to distribute that force or that pressure applied by these bolts. Here, from that pan to that maiden surface. So we're gonna add washers, some nice washers to evenly spread out that force so we won't get that dimple or that protruding spot on the pan by just using the lock washer itself. So we won't have that dip. So hopefully these washers will spread out that force or that pressure more around that pan as it mates to the transmission. So we had washers this time. It didn't come with washers. They only came with the lock washers. And even with this nylon washer for the drain screw or drain bolt, we're going to add a little dab of some transmission sealing around there because this nylon washer isn't enough. Transmission fluid will seep through this thing. So we're going to add a small dab along the rim of that washer when it meets the threads. And so we don't have this leaking as well. So let's get up there and get some bolts started. We're going to torque them down 10 foot-pounds first. Make sure we got our rounds. I'm just going to snug them up with this. And then we'll torque them 10 foot-pounds. And then I'll go back and do 14 foot-pounds. Probably with the vintage wrench again. Okay. Looks a whole lot better. So just like the other pan, we're gonna start here and work our way around clockwise. Tighten them down. I'll get a ratchet and I'll snug them down, then I'll start torquing them down. Starting here first, 10 foot-pounds all the way around. And make sure that they're 10 foot-pounds before I move to the next step, which will be 14 foot-pounds. since this gasket was a little thicker, you guys can see how it's coming out. So I made sure, you want to make multiple passes. I made sure all of them was 10 foot-pounds perfectly. 10 foot-pounds perfectly. I mean multiple rotations around this pan clockwise, starting here, to make sure each one of them was 10 foot-pounds. So when I got it there, got the vintage torque wrench and went around and went to 12 foot-pounds because this is a thicker gasket than the other vehicle. I want the 10 foot-pounds. You guys can see that red stuff you're seeing is, of course, the gasket sealant. And we seem to be pretty good. Look at how it came out. And I don't want it to bust. So I felt comfortable with 12 foot-pounds with this one. So first rotation 10, I went back around to make sure every last one of them was at 12. So we're going to leave this at 12. We're looking pretty good up there. Like I said, that seam you see is, that's the sealant all around. So this thing is going to be secure as well. So I cleaned the rim. I'm going to clean some more. You guys can see there's still some transmission fluid around the rim of that drain hole. That's pretty good. So as you guys can see how it's made, it's like concave along the rim of that, opposed to it being flat. So the washer seats flat on here, and that allows transmission fluid to seep along the seam of that washer, or between that washer and that bolt. So we're gonna put a little sealant there. You guys can see it's still trying to come back. So let's put some sealant around just the rim of that bolt. So we're going to use some of this Permatex transmission gasket making. We're going to put it around. Make sure this is cleaned already. So we're going to put it along the rim of there. And we're going to allow it to dry for 24 hours. So let me do that now. I'll be back in a second. So we got it around there. We're just going to push it up there. We're going to hand tighten it up. And if I don't do this, this thing will leak. We'll hand tighten it up and finish it off in the morning. So we're going to hand tighten this up here. I'll come back out within the next hour or so, and I'll tighten it down. So just a hand tighten down. So I'll come back in about an hour or a couple hours, and I'll just twist it about another ½ inch around, and we should be good with that. All right, we're looking good up there. Looking good. Once we let this cure in 24 hours, we'll put transmission fluid in here and wait for about a week or so, or a few days, and I'll finish the video off. So here's been about maybe 2 hours later, and I'm coming back out to kind of tighten it down. So tomorrow we'll be putting fluid in this thing. All right, it's been 24 hours since that gasket maker around the drain bolt has been installed. Let's put some transmission fluid in here. We got some. We'll use this again. I'll put a couple quarts in here for right now to see if we got any leaks. That should be enough to give us something down here. All right, let's go pour some more in. So we got about 3 quarts in here now. Let's take another visual and see what we got. Looks good. So I'll be back in about a week. I'll let this sit for a week. I'm gonna let it sit both for a week, and we'll come back and check both of them after about 6 or 7 days. So I'll do the update video and I'll close it out. I'm not gonna touch anything, and we'll see what we get in about a week from now. So so far so good. Everything looks great. My only concern is this, not this. Okay, it's about maybe a week later. Finally able to get back out here. Getting a lot of rain lately, and now some snow. Let's get out here and take a look. Let's see what side's best to go on. You just want to take a look at things. And bring a light, but we should get an idea of how we looking. Yep. That looks great. That looks great. Yep. Yep. Just as I expected. That looks great. Beautiful seal. No signs of anything. And we got well over nearly 5 quarts in this thing. So success here. If you had any exposed area, any small gaps or seams, it would have leaked out. We would have been seeing something the first day when I start pouring fluid in here, but I just want to confirm it. So let me show you guys the black car now. It's been about 4 or 5 days since then. Okay guys, let's go check the Mustang, the black one now. See what we got. It's been about 5 days since I've been under here, and we're gonna see everything. If we got any leaks, you guys are gonna see it. Let's grab some light. All right, here we go, guys. Here we go. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's get up on this real close, even the bolt holes. This is the magnetic light, snap-on light, real nice light. Let's see. We got everything look good. My only concern was for this, and it looks good. If this was gonna leak, I don't got nothing. But to avoid using some gasket sealing every time I change the transmission, which is so far and few between, unlike oil changes, I'll use a O-ring, a rubber O-ring around that bolt on top of that nylon washer to get a better seal without using that transmission gasket sealant. And it's just a better option. And I should have used that in the first place. I'll show you guys the O-rings I'm talking about, but that was my only concern, was that we're looking good. We're looking good. The bolts, I was just worried about the bolts as well to make sure we don't got no leaks on those bolts. And man, that looks great. We don't got nothing. We got well over enough transmission fluid in here to have something. Let me show you the O-ring I'm talking about. I'll be using next time on this, whenever I mess with this again, which will be in a long time from now. That'll hold unless it starts to leak when the vehicle's been driven for a while, but I think we're all good. Okay guys, so a better option opposed to using that gasket sealing around that drain bolt is an O-ring. There's probably one this size here. On top of that nylon washer will seat in that concave section of that pan perfectly and seal it without it leaking. So that's probably what I'll be doing in the future if it does leak, but I'll leave it like that for now. So it's a wrap for this video. Although I haven't driven neither one of the cars, I do got a video on the channel that I let the white and blue run for a while, and these things will leak even just sitting up. If there is any seam or gap in that pan, that transmission fluid is gonna leak out, whether it's running or not. So hope you guys found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. Terrence, and I'm out.